Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the School of Science. My name is Luke, and this is the match preview for Everton versus West Ham. Almost said it the wrong way around then. Now, with this one being the last game of this game week, I know a few people have got a couple of Everton players in their fantasy league. I know I have, and I'm hoping the players I've got are going to prop me up quite well because, oh my words, my fantasy league is doing absolutely terrible. But before we go too deeply into it, I would just like to give you a very quick message from our lovely, lovely contributors that are Forever Everton.
We as a fan base, we're some of the best in the world, aren't we? But let's be honest, some of the merchandise that we can get from our football club it's a little bit lacking. I mean, the extortionate prices for a football shirt these days, you're talking, 80, 85 quid for a shirt that's, it's not great. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, looking at the training kits, I love Everton's training kits, but the badge now is basically just irons on a lot of stuff. And I mean, even the sponsorships that we have on them is not great either. So what about stuff that's made for the fans, like unofficial merchandise and stuff like that? Well, even that's a bit meh when it comes to the market at this point in time. But one thing I can tell you right now is some of the best merchandise you can get as an Evertonian is from Forever Everton. I mean, look at this hoodie. This is a nice thick hoodie. And as you know, when it comes to the winters over in the brand new stadium at, should we call it the Hill Dickinson Stadium? I've got to call it the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It says so in my contract. But yeah, so at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, it is going to be absolutely freezing there. So you need to get yourself a hoodie. You need to get yourself some warm apparel. And where's the best place to do it? Over at Forever Everton. Over there, you can get yourself a wide variety of shirts. You can get yourself a wide variety of hoodies, jumpers. You can get some lovely backdrops. These backdrops, I hold them all true. I love every single one of them, apart from this one. Don't worry about this one. We're going to get that one replaced very soon, aren't we, mate? I need to get this one signed by Big Nev as well, whenever I get the chance. Likewise with Big Dunk. I want to get them two signed by him. So whenever I get the chance, I'm going to be getting them to them and putting them in the face. But yeah, so in regards to Forever Everton, they are a massive contributor to the channel. They've helped provide these lovely backdrops. They've provided these lovely bits of apparel. And all he wanted was just a small video just to say what my thoughts on them are. And all I can say is they are absolutely amazing. I'm going to sing the praises of this stuff off the rooftops because they're reasonably priced. They're very, very good quality. This has been washed about twice now. And it's just as nice. It's just as fresh. And it's just as sturdy as the day I first bought it. And hell, even some of the older stuff as well. So back when Rob was doing this on a more smaller scale, I had a top there, one of the Branby Moore tops with the controversial red sun. That one is still holding strong today. That's had probably easily 60 to 100 washes run through it, and it is still looking as good as new. So yeah, all I'm going to ask is you guys give him a chance, go down to his website or go over to his X page, have a look at his content, and if you like any of the stuff, give it a purchase and just let him know that School Science TV sent you. Anyways, on with the video.
Okay. So, West Ham. What's going on at the moment with West Ham? Right now, the club's in a little bit of a turmoil. Since Moyes has left, they've had 3 managers, if I'm not mistaken. They've just signed Nuno Espirito Santo from Nottingham Forest. Ironically enough, their last win was against Nottingham Forest, being a 3-0 win at the City Ground. I had to think about that for a second. But yeah. So what is going on behind the scenes at West Ham? Right now, not a lot good, to be honest. I mean, as we know, the fans aren't happy with a lot of things. Just the general run of the club as well as situations with the stadium. I mean, the way their stadium is at the moment, I've said this in a previous video and I'm going to say here, it's not a good stadium, in all honesty. It's not designed as a football stadium. It's a multi-purpose stadium. It was the old 2012 Olympic Games stadium that they managed to get their hands on. And as far as stadiums go, it's terrible. It is honestly terrible when it comes to atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. It's a 60,000-seater stadium, and they do well to put a lot of fans into there. But it doesn't feel like that. The distance between you and the pitch is an absolute abhorrent joke. I mean, in all fairness, you've got a full-on running track running around that pitch. So you've probably got a good, I'd probably say 10 to 15 metres between the closest fans and the pitch. Now, bear in mind, if you were to look at Everton Stadium or the Hill Dickinson Stadium, that you're probably looking at about maybe 2 metres at the most when it comes to the closest fans to that pitch. So that in its own, that does massively affect atmosphere. So the fans are knowing that and the players are knowing that as well. But how do I think we're going to get on? Now, when it comes to Everton, we've lost our last 2 games. Bear in mind, one being a league game, one being a Carabao Cup game. One of them to Liverpool, one of them to Wolves. It's not good to be going up against a team like this on the back of 2 losses. Yes, it can come as a nice little pick-me-up and everything. And we are at home, but we need to take a bit of caution in a way. We can't go in this game a little bit, too lax. We can't go in there thinking it's a guaranteed win because it's never a guaranteed win. Now, although we have got the new manager and we know the whole thing around the new manager bounce and all that, he hasn't had enough time with the players to really, get something going. Now, let's put an example out there. So let's say Everton, for example. When we sacked Sean Dyche and David Moyes come in, the first game he had was literally about 2 days after he'd signed, and that was against Aston Villa at home. We lost that game 1-0. Now, granted, you did see some decent improvements in the squad, but we still lost the game. West Ham, I see being very similar. Now, bear in mind, they are missing Wan-Bissaka and they are also missing Souček. So they are missing fairly key players. And bear in mind as well, one of their main attacking threats of last season was Mohamed Kudus, who we were looking at, by the way. He's also gone. He's been transferred out. He's gone to Spurs, if I'm not mistaken. I had to think about that one for a second. And their squad isn't looking all too amazing, in all honesty. I mean, their main threat is what? Jared Bowen. And he's not exactly, firing on all cylinders. Did they actually have Callum Wilson as well, if I'm not mistaken? They did. They got Callum Wilson, Paqueta and Bowen. They were the 3 scorers, by the way. But yeah, so I've just been having a little look as well on the pre-match. Well, SofaScore itself has actually given us a prediction. Now, I've got my own prediction down below, and we're going to talk about our Everton one in a minute. But what SofaScore is expecting is Oriola in goal, Diouf, Kilman, Mavropanos, don't even know, Walker-Peters at the back line. You got Mateus Fernandez, is it? Yeah, Mateus Fernandez with James Ward-Prowse, Somerville, Paqueta, Bowen, and Nicholas Fulkrug. Fulkrug? I don't know what to say her name. Sorry. But that's how SofaScore expecting to come out. So it's going to be a very similar situation. So it's basically an identical formation to what we have, 4-2-3-1. That seems to be the norm at the moment in the Premier League. Most teams are going to be rocking out that. I mean, sometimes you will see the occasional 4-4-2 or 4-4-3. I've even seen a 3-3-3-1, which was a very interesting one. But yeah, so how do I expect Everton to line up in this one? Now, I'm going to give you the SofaScore one, and I'm going to give you my one. So for the SofaScore one, it's basically identical to my one, apart from one. So they've got Pickford in goal, Mikolenko, Keane, Tarkowski, O'Brien, with Idrissa Gana-Gueye and James Garner, with Iliman and Dye, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall, Jack Grealish, and Beto up top. Now, I agree with 90% of that. Well, 90 and a little bit percent. But this is my setup. So as you can see here, this is the setup I've gone for. So I'm for Pickford in goal, Mikolenko, Michael Keane, James Tarkowski, Jake O'Brien, with Idrissa Gana-Gueye and Garner, Grealish, Dewsbury-Hall, Iliman and Dye, and Barry. Now, why did I go Barry? In all fairness, I feel like in this game we need to score quick. And I do think Barry is the act. It's weird to say, but Barry seems to be the one for that. Just mostly for the fact that he's a lot, how can I put this? He's a lot more active and quicker than Beto, especially on the off. Now, if Barry isn't firing on all cylinders and he's not doing the job, we still have Beto on the bench, and he can come on as fresh legs and still be the impact. What we have to take into account, though, is we need Beto. If he does come on the pitch, he needs to be threaded the ball. A nice, low, sharp pass rather than lofted shots. We cannot keep doing Pickford all the way up to Beto or Pickford all the way up to Dewsbury-Hall, because that sort of style doesn't work. If West Ham are doing a high press, you can potentially do that and try and loft it towards Idrissa Gueye or James Garner in the very centre of the park. But trying to put it all the way from defence to attack, it's just not going to work in my personal opinion. And, well, I say personal opinion, I also think, based on evidence, it just doesn't work. We've seen it with Sean Dyche. it just doesn't work. You can't get any good results from it from what I've seen. I mean, we've seen it in Wolves. They just launch it forward, forward, forward. We've seen it against Aston Villa. We just kept peppering it forwards over and over again. Now, what we've got to take into account is we've got a heavy left side here. So, obviously, Mikalenko, Idrissa Gueye, or even James Garner and Jack Grealish are all going to be interfeeding with each other, with Drewsbury Hall pushing over to the left to try and provide extra support. Now, in all honesty, I do think Grealish, this is his ideal chance to get a goal here. If he gets a goal, amazing. If he gets... one of the most likely options, though, is he's going to probably get an assist for Drewsbury Hall, Ndiaye, or Barry. But yeah, overall, I do think this is a game that we should be going into with the intent of scoring quickly, and hence that's why I think Barry is the ideal one up top for that. Now, David Moyes will probably have other ideas. He might even try and do the reverse with Beto over Barry, or he could throw an absolute wild card in there and have Ndiaye up top with Diblin on the right. That could potentially work. It could throw them off, absolutely, because Ndiaye has had past situations as a striker, and let's be honest, the way he scores is very striker-esque, especially in the past couple of games of when he scored. It's quite literally the last man sort of thing. So what'll happen is a cross will go in, and either Beto will miss it, and he will come and clean up immediately. He's always on that far post for it. That's how you see it. Now, last season, we did see him basically driving through the middle of the park and, having a go like that. We don't see that all too often at the moment, just for the fact that he doesn't really necessarily need to do that. He doesn't have to pick it up in the middle and drive forwards anymore. He can stick to his right and receive the ball in that sort of situation. So basically get the ball from the middle out to the right, drive it upfield and either cross it or bring it back inside for, say, like Drewsbury Hall or James Garner, or even Idrissa Gueye, because we've seen Idrissa Gueye. He likes to operate as a number 8 in most situations. So we basically got dual 8, dual 6 options there with Idrissa Gueye and Garner, or Garner and Garner if you want to be funny about it. But overall, this is an ideal situation for us to really pick up where we left off. I do genuinely think we could walk away with a very easy win if we get that quick goal. If we can get a goal within the first, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes, I do think that's going to be the nail in West Ham's coffin, because they drop their heads so quickly. I've seen this in previous games. Once that ball goes into the net, it's very, very difficult for them to get that retaliatory goal or to try and push on. There's just no real backbone anymore. They've lost so much of that oomph that makes them a scary or threatening squad. But yeah, in any case, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I will go back to scene 1. And I would also like to say, you probably already noticed it down there. Nice little running banner there. I've been having a little fun with OBS, trying to, modernize the channel a little bit, because at the moment it's basically scene 1, scene 2. But yeah, so I'd like to say a big thank you to these guys down below. If you want to be like these guys and get your name down either in the banner below inside the video or here near the end card, why not become a part of the Cup of Coffee tier here at the School and Science TV channel? It's less than £1 a month. It helps us contribute. Surprisingly enough, it does actually contribute massively to the channel. It helps sort out the likes of the stuff that you've got behind us here. It helps me sort out my hardware, my software. It helps me do other things like that. I mean, hell, you've seen me with my little lapel mic. That was basically funded by you guys watching the videos and everything like that. You cannot imagine how much something like that helps. Also, for this month, up until the 10th of October, any and all money that gets contributed to the channel will actually be going to the Everton and the community, and I will also be matching as well. So if you want to be a member, your money is basically going to not be going to me, it's going to be going to Everton and the community, and I will also be donating on top of that. But yeah, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy an amazing game today. Up the fucking toffees, and peace.